Hi, we're Nathan, Lily, Olivia, and Aldinindya, and today we're going to present our findings regarding the FGP Customer Loyalty Program. And this is just the overview of what we'll be presenting.
So we choose the second manageable problem as our aim to find the result in order to give recommendation to the manager of FGP loyalty program. Based on the data sheet, we can find out some useful information and some analyze to have the deeper findings. The research objectives are identifying the value of the customer in the loyalty program and identifying the characters and that make up the most valuable customer in the loyalty program. And the third one is identifying the predictors of customers that elevate likelihood of churn. And for objective 1 and objective 2, we used the RFM score to find the most valuable customer and use this score to divide the customer into different groups, and then we compare them to find out the characteristics. For objective 3, we find out the customer who churned in 2016 and use this group of customer to find out the characteristics to predict which kind of customer more are willing to churn in the future. Thus, we can conclude the result to manager and give the recommendations.
So I'm going to talk about the first research question. The first one, question 1A is which current customers have the highest value for the loyalty program, and B is how do the satisfaction towards programs, and well, basically every variable, how does that affect the customer RFM scores. And in answering question 1A, we use RFM analysis to find out the recency, frequency, and monetary values of their past purchases. So recency refers to how big is the interval between the last purchase they made and the present time, which is the time the data was taken. And frequency refers to how many transactions did they make throughout the year 2015, and monetary value is how much money they spent for making all those purchases. And those with higher total of RFM scores will most likely be the most valuable customers for this loyalty program. And from the result, we know the exact individuals who get maximum RFM total RFM scores. So these are supposedly the loyal ones, and arguably the ones who will react best to our future marketing efforts. And from the summary, it can be seen that most people made their purchases within the last 3 months of the year, and we can see how the number multiplies over time, so hopefully it will continue to do so in the following year. We can also see how most people in the F score table, most people haven't really made that many transactions with the merchant member, but that might be due to the fact that most of the transactions was again made in the last 3 months before the data was taken. Moving on to question B. Question 1B, we used regression to find out which variables between characteristics and satisfaction points and willingness to promote, and we want to find out which variables significantly affects customers' RFM scores. And from the result we know that not everything is significant. As we can see from the p-value over there, the ones that are not highlighted are not significant. So race doesn't have an impact towards the RFM scores whatsoever, and so do whether or not they live in city C and whether or not they're satisfied with the fast food merchant. And we can see how satisfaction point towards the petrol have the most significant impact on it. So the more satisfied they are with the petrol, the more their RFM scores will likely increase, and same goes for owning a car. So that might imply the importance of accessibility in this case. And next thing is, same goes with being in CDF, and CDC is also it also quite significantly affect the scores.
So for research question 2, we looked into how does customer satisfaction towards each merchant member affect their likeliness to promote the program to others. We have defined the value of customers to be represented by their likelihood to promote the program to others, and this is based on the current aim of the loyalty program being one of expansion. So studies have demonstrated that not all satisfied customers equally translate into customers who do demonstrate loyalty and who will display positive behavioural intentions such as a willingness to promote. And this issue is being addressed by research question 2 using the variables and results from the given survey where satisfaction was rated on a scale of 1 to 10 and willingness to pay from 0 to 10. So we conducted a regression analysis to ascertain the relationship between the satisfaction levels that consumers had with each of the 3 merchants, fast food, grocery and petrol, with their willingness to introduce others into the program through their personal recommendation. And what we found was that customer satisfaction towards the programs in each of the merchant members accounted for 39% of the customer's likelihood to promote the loyalty program. It is observed that an increase in satisfaction with the petrol merchant had the highest impact on increasing a customer's willingness. The fast food merchant had the second highest positive effect, and the grocery merchant had a significantly lower impact than the other 2. So moving on to recommendations, recent studies have affirmed the efficacy of word-of-mouth promotion. It's largely attributed to the perceived credibility of the source of the message. Therefore, it is suggested that an expansion program should target the key group of people here who are engaged in spreading information. So marketing implications that would further arise from these results would suggest that promotional campaigns should target the customers of the petrol merchants in order to increase their satisfaction to maximise the expansion through the current customers of the loyalty program and their likeliness of recommending the program to others. So moving on to research question 3, this was about how personal characteristics affect the relationship between customer satisfaction towards the program and their likeliness to promote the program to others. So the research objectives here were to discern the moderating impact of the personal characteristics on the translation process. So one maxim that dominates marketing is that customers are different. In following that, research question 3 was designed to explore the characteristics of these customers and any moderating effects these characteristics had on the transformation from customer satisfaction into a particular willingness to promote. And through this, we can identify and draw out the most valuable segment of the population for expansion. Based on our moderated regression analysis, the significant factors are satisfaction with the program, gender, owning a credit card, owning a car, and living in City D. And then within these facts, we've identified the 2 with the highest additional impact on willingness to pay, and that was female customers. They demonstrated the highest additional increase when satisfaction towards the program increased. They compared 2 male customers, holding everything else to be the same. And also when customers had use of a credit card, it was seen to lead to the second highest additional increase in inclination to promote when satisfaction is increased. So therefore, the managerial implications from the result would suggest that we should construe promotional activities and strategies towards increasing the satisfaction of the customers that we currently have, who are female, who are credit card owners, because an increase in their satisfaction will translate most highly into a willingness to promote. And it is recommended that the expansion program would utilise this very effective source of expansion that is already available to you, and that is your current customers. So it's also important to note that this analysis should form the basis for further research into what the most effective promotional activities would be to target this particular segment that we've drawn out.
So the final research question addressed in our report was, how do satisfaction levels differ between churned and non-churned customers, as well as what are the predictive characteristics of churn? So this revolved around an exploration of churn within the dataset, whilst examining which variables of customers to the FGP program were likely contributors towards their unsubscription from 2015 to 16. So the purpose of this dimension of our analysis was to address the research objective of identifying the predictive variables of customers that elevate the likelihood of churn. So as you can see, a quick examination of the data displayed, 33% of surveyed customers to have churned and ended usage to the loyalty program. This gave cause for concern upon Jennifer's desire to expand and attract new customers. It can be seen that Jennifer is currently struggling to maintain her current market, with a third opting to discontinue their subscription to the FGP program. As a result, further analysis was conducted using tools such as t-tests and ANOVA to discover driving factors behind this high churn rate. So in order to gauge an understanding of customer satisfaction between the churn group and loyal customers, a t-test was run. So therefore, the null hypothesis was there is no difference in means between the two groups, and the alternative being there is a difference in the means. So the t-test returned a p-value of 0.00, as you can see, which allowed us to reject the null, that is, conclude that there is a difference between satisfaction within the groups of active customers of 2015 to 16 and those who ended their subscription. Ultimately, this shows Jennifer that satisfaction does hold an influence on a customer's decision to churn. So several other characteristics were observed, including gender, vehicle ownership, and credit card ownership. So a series of 3 independent t-tests were run in order to study these variables within the churn group and the influence of satisfaction. So the key results were as follows. So for gender, there was a relatively even spread of churn amongst both genders. So the p-value recorded 0.00, showing a difference in means and rejecting the null. So females demonstrated to have an average satisfaction of 6.75, whilst also holding a significant churn rate. So this basically means for Jennifer that females are more harder to retain as customers. Then we've got car ownership. So the t-test returned a p-value of 0.00 also. So whilst they held higher satisfaction, they also held a higher churn rate, accounting for 58%. So this difference in means supports the notion that non-ownership of vehicle had direct influence on churn group. And then we've got credit card ownership. So a p-value of 0.047 showed that a difference in means does exist, which reinforces the recurring churn of non-ownership, leading to a higher likelihood to churn and end subscription. So an ANOVA was run for the final variable studied against overall satisfaction by churn customers, which was city. So the high p-value of 0.73 allows us to conclude that there is no significant difference in means amongst 2 or more of the cities. Therefore, the previously studied variables, unlike the previously studied variables, cities does not influence likelihood to churn. So some managerial implications from this. So Jennifer needs to ultimately find a way to reduce churn prior to going through with the expansion process. So customer churn has shown to hold a relationship with one's ability or inability to grow their business. So basically, if she can't retain her current customers over the past 8 years and have them remain loyal, she will undoubtedly struggle to find success in an entirely new market.
There are some recommendations for the manager. From the most valuable customer which we identify, our recommendation is having a recognition and rewarding system to these customers. And second, we find out the customer satisfaction with the petrol merchant has the most impact on the willingness to promote. So we suggest Jennifer to concentrate promotional activities on this segment. And from the result, we also suggest that more attention should be paid to the customer who have cars. Finally, Jennifer should reduce customer churn to ensure current market remain satisfied and loyal to the program. There are some limitations that we should notice as well. The first one is the data for our analysis and conclusions consist only conclude the customers who have been utilizing the loyalty program. That means we also need to consider about the customer who are not attending to this loyalty program, especially the potential customer. The second limitation is about we only focus on the after buying condition but not the whole process of the purchase. For example, first the customer will notice that the things they want to buy and then decided to buy. That means we should consider the whole purchase process of customer, not only after purchasing.
That is all from us. Thank you for your attention and have a good day.